Okay, so hi, I'm Marissa. I'm sure you already know that. But today I'm just creating a quick recording to show you how to, one, create a newsletter in MailChimp, also how to create a list, and then also how to post a blog on a basic WordPress site. So we're going to start with the newsletter portion. That way we can type in our newsletter and then we can link our blog. So the very first thing is obviously you're going to go ahead and log into MailChimp. I'm going to go ahead and choose mine. Then I'm going to go ahead and log in. So the very first thing you're going to see as soon as MailChimp finishes loading is this dashboard full of a bunch of things that, if you've never seen it before, probably don't make any sense. So I'm going to go down the list of things on the list, and then we'll kind of, on the list, on the left-hand column, and then we'll do a breakdown of how to do the newsletter. So over here on the left, you have basically your main profile account, like where your picture, your username and password, your Gmail account, your email address that all your notifications go to. Your account is the actual account that you have purchased for how many people you have on your list. Whoop. And then the support is literally just their support where you can troubleshoot. They also have a chat that you can use that they're amazing and helpful and really fast. So in case you ever have a question, don't understand the campaign, it's pretty easy to go find that. So the first part that we're going to tackle is the campaigns on the left-hand side, because the campaigns are actually where you create a newsletter. So in here, you're going to find it pretty easy to create your newsletter by just hitting Create Campaign, which we will come back to. Templates are the structure of how your templates will look, or how your newsletter is going to look. So for example, it's telling me to create a template. This is where you can add banners, add colors, change your font, change the size of your font, to have a preset for every time you do your newsletter. We're going to go back down here to lists, because lists is each different list that you have signups for. So I have a couple of different lists here for different campaigns that I've run. So I pretty much, one, love it, and two, it's a really easy place to see how many people you have on your list, how responsive is your list in terms of like how often do they open. So that's pretty helpful. Reports are going to be, if you've never seen this before, the analytics of any campaign that you've sent, which is a newsletter, to help you get a better idea of who's opening your emails, how many clicks through. So for example, 2 people were on my list, 1 person opened and 1 person clicked through to read the blog. On this one, there was 1 person on my list, they opened it, but they didn't click through to read the blog. Automation is going to be something that we'll save for another day, but it's something where you can set up automatic emails to go out. That sounds really basic, but I'll explain that more later. So we're going to go back to campaigns so we can go ahead and learn how to create a newsletter. So it's really pretty easy. You're just going to go up here in the right-hand corner anytime that you want to create a newsletter to go out. You hit Create Campaign. So the very first thing it's going to prompt you to do is to choose which type of campaign. I always do the regular old campaign because it's just easiest to edit. But these other ones, this one's if you just want to send a very basic newsletter. Some people's branding don't want to have fancy banners or pictures. An A/B split campaign is literally, as it says, send to 2 groups to determine the best subject line from name or time, day to send campaigns. So that's literally testing 2 different emails, sending it to the same list, and it sends 2 different emails, and then it will give you the stats on those 2 different emails to help you determine which newsletter was the best. And then the RSS-driven campaign, send content from an RSS feed to a list. So we're going to go ahead for this case for all the newsletters that we do, and in the purpose of working, we'll do the regular old campaign. So you go ahead and hit select, and then it's going to ask you which list you want to send to. So for this one, we want to send it to a Commitment to Live newsletter, or the Commitment to Live list. We'll hit next. Here's where you're going to name your campaign. So I'm going to call this newsletter number 3 that I've ever sent to this list. And then the subject of this email will be moving to a new website. This will be obviously a little newsletter about moving to a new website. So you go ahead and hit next after that. And then this is where you're going to be choosing a general, not newsletter, but general layout of what your newsletter will look like. They have different styles. I usually stick with the one column because it's easiest to edit and add different things, but lots of people use lots of different kinds. You have almost like a newspaper magazine feel over here. You also have where you can have a header and then have 2 little notes with pictures. They have tons of choices. You can choose to mess around with that. Themes are something that kind of give you preset colors or preset templates that MailChimp has created for you, but you can also create your own. This is just to make it a little more fun and colorful if you're not really sure where to start with your own newsletter. So we'll go ahead and scroll back up to the top. We'll see saved templates. That's what we were looking at earlier in case you ever want to create a template for your newsletter so you don't have to insert the picture every time. The recently sent is old templates that you've used. I usually use this because I don't have a set template that I want to use yet. And then code your own is where you can literally just code your own or upload from a zip file. You can also import from a URL. These are kind of for more advanced newsletter creators. So unless you're prepared to take on some coding, I would stay out of this department. So for this sake, we're going to go back and hit saved templates, or not saved templates, recently sent, and choose the most recent that I've sent. And now we're going to fall on my newsletter and the setup that I use. So this is old copy, so we won't have to worry about that. You'll have new copy when you insert it into here. But anytime that you want to create a new banner or more text or change the text, we have some pretty basic setups. So on your right over here, the first thing that you'll see is the different options that you can choose to set up the newsletter. So you can add text, you can add boxed text, a divider down here at the bottom, and it's just click and drag. And then these will be the settings, which we'll get to. An image you want to share on social media. This is always a great idea. To include that just because it allows people to spread the word. Coding is going to go right back to coding. I wouldn't dabble in here if you've never coded before. The footer is basically this, where it has your address, the year of your company, a copyright, and a button for them to unsubscribe or update subscription preferences, such as if they change their email. Image group is pretty easy and self-explanatory. It's an opportunity to put 2 pictures next to each other. We'll go ahead and delete that. And text and dividers and images, all of that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to do the design side so we can go ahead and go through some of these little pieces here. One of these is page, and this is going to be the overall settings for the MailChimp newsletter itself. So if you notice there's kind of a gray background, I decided that I want it to be purple. So you can actually go ahead and create that purple. And now it's going to set my background to be this obnoxious purple. That way when people open the email, that's the background they see. So we'll save that. And the page has a bunch of other features as well. Your email border, which we don't have any. The type of font you have, which you can see here, it's Arial. We could change it to something crazy. And until you hit save, it doesn't make those changes. I think I might have it preset to Arial in the actual text, so it may not work. And then each section is pretty much the same. You'll go through and you'll find that background color, the pre-header is up here. This part right here, this is my header, and then this is my body. But these are just areas where you can change the color. You can change the color of the link like I did. I've changed mine to purple to match the banner. And you'll do this for each section. If you want to change the color, if you want to change it to bold, if you want to change it to bigger. And that'll help you kind of create some consistency. A really cool thing about MailChimp is that it allows you to design your newsletter also from a mobile app. That way, if anybody's on their iPhone, their smartphone, they can get a better hold of that, a better visual of what that will look like for someone who's looking at it on a phone. So the comments, I don't use this portion, and there's really no reason to. This is just notes for you if you ever are creating a design that you want to keep things with. But that's pretty self-explanatory. So to edit the content on this side, it's pretty easy. You just hover over it and hit the edit button, and then you'll see how it swipes over here to the right to edit it. You do that with pretty much everything on this side. So now it's asking me if I want to change the size of the banner, if I want to replace it with a different picture. You can also do it with the footer. This allows me to come in here and change what's going on down here. And then it'll also allow me from this point to change my contact info for my whole account. So overall, it's pretty easy. You just have to get used to the interface. One thing that a lot of people love to use, and I know I do, that we'll use in our work together, is using the test feature. So when you have a newsletter, a lot of the times links might not work, and you may not know that if you're not previewing it. So we always send a test to ourselves just to make sure that we get it in our inbox. And then from there, we are able to see what the email looks like. We'll check it out, make sure everything looks amazing. It's not there yet. That's okay. You'll see the email in the box, and then you'll be able to see if the link works. You'll be able to see all the spacing, because there's a lot of times that it's not necessarily going to be the same, and that you might have to make some changes. So it's good to always double check your links, double check your spacing, because it can look different in here and then appear different in an email. Once you do that, you can go ahead and hit next, because your newsletter is all done and ready to go. And then you can do two things here. You can choose to schedule, or you can choose to send. And all of this is really just a confirmation. If you would like to look through this, you can, but it's not necessary. You'll go ahead and just hit schedule here if you want to schedule it out to go on a certain day. So as you can see right here, it says I'm in the Pacific time zone, so that's what the choice that you'll have. So you'll choose your date. I send my newsletters out on Thursdays at 6 a.m. Pacific time. So because that's when I send my newsletter out, I'll go back down here and hit schedule campaign. But let's say I wanted the campaign to go out right now. I would hit cancel, and then I would just hit send. Then it would ask me, you're about to send a campaign to 3 subscribers, send now or cancel. This allows you to make one mistake to send it or not send it. So I'm actually going to go ahead, and since this took a little longer than I expected, wrap this up and open up a new screencast for you to check out how to do WordPress. That way we can make sure to get all set up and linked and all ready to go. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, you have my email, so reach out to me.